everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Deducation, the teachers out for summer.
Yes.
Talking Terror podcast, where Mike
and Courtney
are here to talk about a movie that I hadn't even heard of. I don't know why it's in my catalog. It is, but we shuffled and we ended up with a 1992. It's an independent film, really, called Dust Devil, directed by Richard Stanley. Now, I have seen a Richard Stanley movie before. He made a movie, his first movie is called Hardware. It's actually pretty good. A lot of, I won't call it similarities to this movie, but a lot of the same vibe.
His movies are kind of like household items, like the Dust Devil, like Dirt Devil vacuum cleaner. Like I was like, what is this?
Yeah, he's got a new movie coming out called Instapot, so we'll see if that's any good. No, Richard Stanley directed Hardware. Again, not a terrible movie. I really don't know if you would like it either. It's kind of got that, like this movie, fairly simple plot, a little slow in its delivery, but well done. Like I think he's a little bit more adventurous with his camera angles and such, which is fine. Like I told you when we talked yesterday morning, I didn't mind it. I don't think you're going to have the same grade. But that's okay. But yeah, Dust Devil. This movie was made in Namibia. And so it's got a real blending of, like, the whole crew was a blend of, like, British and American, Namibian, South African, like, so a lot of desert. The whole movie's in the desert.
Yeah.
And you could tell, and I know it seems odd that you can, but you can tell that some of the actors in this movie are not... they're not American or they're not British. I don't know why. Like I don't. What is it about? Like obviously certain like ethnicities you can look at and be like that person's not American. Yeah. But like some of the like a couple of the black actors, you could look at him and you could be like, dude, you're from Africa. Like
yeah.
I don't understand why that is. Like even before looking them up, I'm like I know that person's not American. Not that that's fine because there's. A lot of times I wish I weren't American, but that's beside the point. And so yeah, this movie starts out pretty hot. We got boobs right away. Which it's a horror film, so to be quite honest, I'm surprised we don't see more than we have.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm sure that they'll come stumbling through. But we basically have the story of a dude who hitchhikes himself across the desert. He's a handsome man. Always ends up... basically, these women are breaking rule number one. Like, don't pick up a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Especially when you're by yourself. And so, yeah, he picks him up. Like, this lady picks up. Then we get this romantic booty call scene. And then he just snaps her neck.
Yeah, it does not have a happy ending.
No, not for both of them anyway. Yeah, snaps her neck and just cuts her hand off, cuts her fingers off, and just burns the house down.
Yeah.
Leaves her corpse in the car, takes the car, and it's like, but even in that, like you're like, oh, I mean, it's just okay. Yeah, he's a hitchhiker and he's a handsome man, but he's also a cold-blooded sexual killer. So
yeah, like this is why you don't pick up hitchhikers.
Right, yeah, that's why. 50-50 chance it's going to happen.
Yep.
You're either going to get murdered or you're not.
Although I was a hitchhiker one time and I did not kill anybody, so...
Well, you were in that positive
50%.
Where did you hitchhike from?
In Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so probably not...
Yeah.
Not safe in another country either,
no.
But...
Why were you hitchhiking in Taiwan? I mean, I know you went to Taiwan, but what put you in a situation to hitchhike?
We just wanted to. The group of us, we just thought it would be cool to try and hitchhike. So I wasn't alone. that was smart on my behalf, but
so it was somebody driving alone in a van or a limousine.
They were in a car, and we were all stacked on top of each other in the back seat.
Okay, so somebody's like, I have room for 8.
Yep. In my little Toyota little Fiesta, whatever.
Yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
Well, I guess cross that off your bucket list, I suppose.
Yes.
So yeah, we're in, like I said, Namibia. We cut to a town called Bethany, and the police are investigating. Really, I mean, they, the cop that answers the phone there's like strange voices talking to him, but also all the way over in South Africa, in Johannesburg, some rando woman picks up the phone, and she's also getting weird messages in the phone.
Yes.
We don't know what it means. We never really do find out what it means.
No.
And so Wendy ends up being our main character. Wendy is in a relationship with her husband. He's not a very good actor.
No.
He accuses her. What was it? He accused her of cheating on her.
Yeah.
And when she told him she wasn't cheating on him, he just smacked her in the face.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like, okay.
Did he want her to cheat on him?
I know. Like, are you disappointed that I didn't cheat on you?
Yeah. Are you cheating on me? No. I'm so bad.
Dang it.
And so she has had enough. I'm out of here, which I don't blame her.
Yeah.
She stood up for herself, and she just gets in the car and decides, I'm driving to Namibia. So off she goes.
Yep.
I mean, why not? Cut back to the hitchhiker. He gets picked up again.
Yes.
This time in like a Winnebago.
Some guy.
Yeah. I don't think the romance scene happened with these two. The way
I don't think so.
I think this was just thanks for the ride, man.
Uh-huh.
But again, we have another like grisly death scene. Blood everywhere and hand cut off again, and it's like we've got this serial killer in this, so it's we've seen him do it, so we know it's him.
Yes.
And then Wendy picks him up.
Mm-hmm.
Now at this point, yeah.
Yeah, she had like her car had gotten stuck. She ended up in like a whole. I mean, like I don't know how to explain it. Like it was a little issue. Like her car got stuck in the sand.
Right.
She was helped out. Yeah, it was just I don't know. And then she gets back out and ventures to pick him up. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
a long way of saying that.
I do like how this was set up, because we know right away when we meet Wendy that she's going to be like our main character.
Yeah.
I mean, just the amount of attention that she's getting, we know she's going to be the focus. But we've also seen him murder 2 people up to this point. So it's kind of fun because we're waiting, at least for me, I was waiting for them two to cross paths because I knew he was not a good guy.
Yeah.
And I knew she was running from a bad guy. So it's like, this seemed like, oh, okay, like, they're going to cross paths, let's just get there. And then they do, yeah. She picks them up. And this is where it's like, just some supernatural stuff kind of happens. Like, he's in the car, passenger seat, she's driving down the highway, and then alongside the road is him.
Yeah.
But he's also in the passenger seat, so he's like, just keep going.
Yeah, just keep on going.
Yeah. Do you think there's just one of this guy? Or
I don't know.
There's more?
I think that there's multiple, just because, like, I don't know. I know that it's like a folktale. That's what we had called it. Like, I don't think it's like there's only one Bigfoot. Like, I think that there are multiple of these like shapeshifters.
Yeah, I'm starting to think so too, because at the beginning of the movie, Joe, a character we haven't talked about yet, Joe's like doing a voiceover of kind of the folklore of the Dust Devils, and he's talking about how they're like the desert winds but in human form. Yeah. And they roam the highways just looking to kill people. Mm-hmm. And so when we see him in her car and then another one of him on the road, I was a little confused at first, because then suddenly she's talking to him and then he's gone.
Yeah, just disappeared.
And so I don't know if she was planning on picking up another hitchhiker, but and so the cops find the camper where near what's that?
The first cop, like, he just opened the door and like was just going in. That is who I aspire to be. I'm the cop in the background, like bent over, crying, gagging, like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. I'm probably that one too. Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not super brave when it comes to that kind of stuff. Not that I've come across a lot of murder scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Zero to be exact. But so Wendy's alone again. Or finish my thought before. The cops find the camper. They find the dead. So it's like the cops are on to this murderer. Mm-hmm. They don't know who, but they're aware of a murderer. We know who's murdering, and we know Wendy doesn't know. So Wendy's just kind of stuck in the middle. But yeah, he just disappears from her car, and she's just alone. So she stops at this little roadside motel thing. Another reason at least in my mind, I've seen enough of these types of movies, and you're getting there too. I knew Wendy was not going to die.
Yeah.
Not only because she's the main character, but the director established early on that he'll show boobs in this movie. And then we get to the motel, and she's running bathwater. And then we don't see anything.
Yeah.
So for me, that was just a little like creative decision of like.
Yeah. She's special. Like, Wendy, we haven't seen her boobs, so she's special.
Yeah. Like, and that's not just this movie. That's pretty par for the course in a horror film.
Okay.
More often than not, it's almost like a twist that if you do see the main character's breasts and she survives, like, that's a twist. Like, whoa, I didn't think she was going to survive. I saw her boobs. Like, it's just. And so when they have a bathtub scene and she's all covered up, I'm like, she's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, but she is sad, which this scene didn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe you could explain it to me.
Yeah, I didn't really, she is like laying in the bathtub, which I feel like, again, another thing in horror movies is like, let's just shove ourselves underwater to see how long we can last.
Right.
But when she comes up, she's got her razor blade.
Yeah.
And like, she's debating whether or not, she should cut her wrist. And I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, I don't want to see it. But why?
I don't understand. Like, there's nothing about her character up to this point that showed us that she was defeated and broken.
No. And so, they do say, like, the happiest people, but this was a while ago. Like, this isn't 2023.
Right, and I get the connection between, hiding your emotions, but, like, you just took a stand against your abusive husband. Like, you're a strong woman.
Don't take this way out.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that you can't be dealing with depression and sadness, but just from everything they've showed us about her character at this point, it didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense, at least in the storyline, for her to do this instead of run away from her husband.
Maybe she just wanted to like test how strong she was. I don't know.
Possibly,
maybe if I can do it, then I'm like ready to give up. But she knew she wasn't ready to give up.
Which I guess maybe you're right. That makes sense. Of like, I'm facing death, even though it's self-harm. But and then she decided, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So she just goes to bed. goes to her car the next morning, and Dusty's in the car. The Dust Devil. He doesn't really have a name, but we'll call him Dusty. So, Double D's in the car, and she's just like, what, again, completely understandable. Where'd you go? Uh-huh. And he's like, oh, you fell asleep while you were driving. That doesn't make any sense either. So, meanwhile, the cops are like trying to, they see a pattern here. Because again, this is 2 murder scenes, 2 dismembered hands. And so the cops are investigating, and we definitely have a cultural dynamic here. Yes. You've got 2 white cops and the black cop, and the 2 white cops are clearly racist. Mm-hmm. They don't even pretend to hide it. And the black cop is the good cop. But he also being local, I get the sense that the white guys weren't local. This guy's local, so he's willing to listen into some of this supernatural, witchcraftery kind of stuff. So he starts tracking these murders, and he's finding like nearly 100 years ago there were murders like this. And so we get the 2 kind of storylines overlapping here of, the cop, Mukarab, I think is what his name was. We got Mukarab that is trying to crack the case, and then we've got Wendy who's literally flirting with death. Yeah. Because and so again, 1, we didn't see her boobs, but 2, every scene we see with her and the Dust Devil is another one that it's like, okay, we've seen him with 2 people and he murdered them immediately. Yeah. Why is he not killing this woman?
Why have you kept her around?
Right. And so they go, Wendy basically just gives herself to the Dust Devil. Yeah. She's like, hey, here's my body. We're not going to show it on camera, but you can have your way with it. Mm-hmm. And about this time, Wendy's crappy husband, Mark, just shows up in Namibia. Yeah. I did like this scene though, because he deserved it. Even though I won't say his actions in the bar constituted deserving it. Yes. But as a person, he deserved it.
Yes. It's they knew that he deserved it.
Yeah. And so he shows up at this bar, and he's questioning where my wife is. I know she was here. She was in this bar. And of course, these guys are like, I don't know what you're talking about, And then he does what a stereotypical dirtbag white guy would do, is he just starts taking his male dominance and throwing it around like it matters. And not here, because he's outnumbered.
And it's like, dude, read the room. You're the only white guy in this room, and you are going at a bunch of... Yeah. I mean, no. Again, you were the only white guy. Chill out, okay?
Yeah, that's where I was headed. I was going to say, he's outnumbered all of them to 1.
All of them. He's the fly on the wall.
And they're all much bigger than he is.
Yes.
And they just beat him down. And he deserved it, because...
He did.
1, because of what he's done to Wendy, but 2, because you're a stooge, man.
Yeah, and I mean, they even try to tell him, go check the other side, check over there. They had mentioned the white bar, and he's like, she didn't go. I heard that pinball machine. It's because this is the only pinball machine here.
Yep, it's the only one in Namibia.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's just he deserves it. Yeah. So he gets a beat down that was worth it. And they just toy with him too, because they cut away and then they come back and he's still getting beat down. He crawled under a table. It's you can tell they messed with this guy for a while. And so Mukarab meets up with Joe. Joe is, again, the guy who told us about the Dust Devils at the beginning. Joe is I feel like I won't call it a neighborhood, but this is a town of Bethany.
Is he the one with the really nasty teeth?
Yeah, he looked a little more street. Yeah. I get the vibe he may have been homeless, but he's also the one that he's really in tune with local folklore and you know, like, so Mukarab is not making any sense of it, and his fellow police officers aren't going to do anything about it. So he goes to Joe and it's basically like, hey, what do you got? You know, this is what we're seeing. Does this sound like anything you know about? And Joe tells him, yeah, you know, these you know, it's the not loper or something like that. It's you know, it's a local dialect thing, and I'm not of that local dialect, so But Joe tells him, yeah, this sounds like the work of this demon, this dust devil, basically. You know, that is slowly gaining power through these murders. The more murders, the more powerful it gets. And it's kind of cute because I get a sense that it's very like Aesop's Fable-ish in a way. I feel like, you know, Aesop's Fables tell a really good story, but then because of the simplicity of the like locale, like the way to defeat these things is pretty simple. You know, like to beat like American monsters, you know, like Frankenstein and Dracula and werewolves, it's like you need a gun. You know, it's like you need a gun, you need some kind of weaponry. But for these things, you just have to trick it. You just have to you have to trick this dust devil into just stepping over a stick.
Yeah, just step over a stick.
Yeah, trick it. Yeah, like get it to come towards you, and then throw a stick at its foot and watch it step over it, and then you can defeat it. And Joe naturally is like, oh, and by the way, I have one of those sticks right here. I'm surprised you didn't sell it to him for like $20.
I know.
You know, like it just sounds like a snake oil kind of thing. But if you can trick these dust devils into stepping over a stick, they're like bound to that spot, and their power can be taken. And so, yeah, Joe's like, take this stick, take this root, and by eating this root, the demon cannot possess you.
Yes.
Because again, it's not. It's. I don't think it's the like personification. Like the human form is just whatever he's possessed.
Yeah.
I don't like. So this hitchhiker is not the dust devil. The dust devil has possessed him.
Yes. Like he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, he just happened to be the one that got possessed.
And we come back to this like weird scene of him like reaching into the mirror, the dust devil, Dusty, and they're in wherever they stayed, and Wendy finds this box, of fingers, and he's like, I had no choice, like I don't know. This is kind of where it made, like, I don't know, a little bit more sense to me, because he's like, it kind of was like, I'm just helping people go out of their misery that are miserable.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you're like thinking you're like an angel of death or something.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this: that lady in the beginning didn't look like she was miserable.
No, she didn't. No, he must have a sixth sense type thing.
Maybe
to pick that stuff up.
She seemed miserable, and I tried to cure her pain in one way.
And so he tries to kill her. She escapes, and meanwhile, she's in this vehicle. He causes a crash. Yeah,
we do occasionally see him take like a demon face.
Yeah, he did. Like he got like often, the nails
we do occasionally. He has this kind of like living gargoyle look to him.
Yes.
But you know, Mukarab has a plan though. Like he has the weaponry now. And then who finally shows up to Mukarab? Mark, yeah, the deadbeat husband that they should have finished him off at the bar, but
and so they are in this, I mean, like a dust storm, and she wrecks into a semi, hauling a bunch of cattle, and then I don't know what the people in the camper were doing, because it's like, you see this, which they didn't see, because it's this huge semi and this car have wrecked, and then the camper just goes whoo, just bumps into it enough to not hurt anyone, but to let all of the cows out of the bag.
Yeah. It's okay. Whatever.
I was like, all right, whatever.
Sense, whatever.
It is what it is. And Dusty shows up at the crash.
Yeah.
Where there's some gas leaking out, lights a cigarette, and throws his lighter in there.
Yeah. Now everyone's got stakes.
Yeah.
Mukarab leaves Mark like handcuffed to a car.
Yeah.
And of course Mark, who thinks I'm going to help you find my wife, is obviously confused. As Mukarab heads through the desert, he tells Mark before he leaves, like, I have to save you. Like, I'm saving you by leaving you here. Because this demon only possesses those... Like, you get the vibe he can only possess one at a time.
Yeah.
Which would make sense why he's possessed a hitchhiker.
Yeah, and...
But he it only possesses those that have nothing to live for.
And I've got nothing.
Right, and Mark clearly has nothing. And Mukarab sees that, so he's like, you're staying here. I'm going to save you. So we do get this... We get the final confrontation. Dusty's been chasing down Wendy. Mukarab's been chasing down Dusty. And Wendy's been running from from basically everybody. And they reach this really, honestly, really cool looking abandoned like ghost town. You almost get the vibe that it's like this place used to be something, and then like the wind shifted and just blew sand everywhere. And so Wendy gets stabbed.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, Wendy gets stabbed by Dusty at this place. And he's pursuing her because he's going to kill her off because he's had enough. He's to tell her, like, hey, I loved you. I let you live longer than normal. We could have been together. Mukarab had been kind of dispatched by Dusty, but Dusty has the wrong approach to Wendy as he's walking right by Mukarab, who throws that stick down right in front of him. Wendy still has a shotgun, though. And this is the one part of the movie I was really excited for you for. As she lifts that shotgun, and we see Dusty square in the sights, and she just blows his head apart.
Yeah.
And I know you like your gore, so I was like, that'll be redeeming for Courtney. She'll like that.
Yes.
Wendy then just walks off into the desert. She comes across Mark. She just kind of looks at him, aims at him, turns
I was going to
say,
away. She didn't really, acknowledge him much.
Right. And then she does something at the beginning, or she does something at the end of this movie that we saw Dusty do at the beginning. Walks into the middle of the highway, lays down, puts her ear along the road to listen for traffic, and stops this fleet of like Namibian army trucks or whatever. And we get Joe's one final like voiceover. He started the movie with a voiceover talking about them, and he gives one final voiceover that he believes she's now part of the desert, that he believes she's been possessed by the dust devil. And I can understand that, because she'd run from Mark and had given herself to Dusty, only to find out that he's evil.
Yeah.
So therefore she now has nothing to live for. Making possessing her much easier. And so as she's wandering through the desert and comes across Mark, who previously had nothing to live for but has now found his wife, he now has something to live for, which means he can't be possessed. Which I think is why she just turned and walked off.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's excited. Yeah,
he's excited to see her.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she looks so disappointed. Yeah. Even though realistically, like, dude's chained to a car. Like, is that really who you want to possess?
Exactly. Like, He's not leaving.
No. And that's Dust Devil. 1992's Dust Devil. Otherwise known as... Well, I think it was... Demonica. It was a much shorter version released in Europe as Demonica.
Huh.
So... Oh, Dust Devil.
Yeah, all I could think of was the Dirt Devil vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like handheld vacuums.
Yeah, I'm like, Dust Devil, that sounds familiar.
Well, today is the last day of school.
It is.
We're done. We go back tomorrow, but the report cards are done. But let's give one more grade for the school year.
I'm for that. Man, I'm so sad that my last day of school is ending on a low grade. This is probably like the lowest grade I've had too.
That's okay.
Yeah, this Dust Devil's getting a D for me.
Oh, well, kidding. Double D.
I was struggling to stay awake during this movie. It was so slow. I felt like I was watching like a Western kind of, because just like, I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it was very hard for me to watch. I like that we're both yawning right now too. Like you can tell it's the end of the school year. We're tired. But yeah, it was just very hard for me to watch. Like I felt like the only thing I got excited about was that the end shot, but was also like, oh hey, that's the guy from Thinner. Like
like, oh, of all the actors we've covered multiple times, this guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Even when I was watching it, I'm like, ooh, Courtney's not gonna like this one.
It was very hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it I think I'm gonna give it a C+.
Okay.
I didn't mind it. I like this kind of adventurous, non-cookie cutter horror film. Mm-hmm. So I give a lot of credit to Richard Stanley to have an idea for a movie and see it through and not worry about pressures from the studio and from the investors. And it's like this is a movie he wanted to make and he went and made it.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot to that. And as cookie cutter as so many other horror films are, it is a little refreshing to stumble across it. Is it something I would watch again? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I can admire the effort put into it, because it's like you made this movie in Namibia. Like,
yeah, that is pretty neat.
You know, it's like this wasn't like you went to New Mexico to make it look like Africa.
Uh-huh.
Like, no, you went over to Africa and made this movie.
Yeah.
And you used locals, and it's like I think that's kind of cool. You know, to just like, this is what I wanted to do, and so I did it. And so it's gonna get a C+ for me. I didn't mind the storyline. I thought like the localized folklore was kind of cool. But I like monster kind of stuff, and I know this wasn't like your tried and true monster.
Yeah.
But I think it's very short-sighted of us as Americans to think that like our monsters are what everybody's monsters are. Like, everybody knows Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman. It's every culture has their own little thing, and it's cool to see this country's little thing, like be realized and be like, hey, let's make a movie out of that. Which is because Japan does it a lot. Like, there's a lot of excellent Japanese horror films that are based on like legends or stories that, of course, we have no idea, you know, just because it's different language, different culture, and some of them are just absolutely terrifying. And so these kind of urban legend things are a lot of fun. So, but again, what I watched again, probably not. But it is worthy of praise, I guess you should say.
Yes.
All right. Well, obviously, we're not teachers in Namibia.
No.
So we can't necessarily speak on what it would be like being in a Namibian school while the plot of this movie was happening. Because really, there's only 2 dead people.
Yeah. It really, I mean, yeah, it wasn't a lot of like killing.
No, really small body count. You got 2 dead, 3 if you count Dusty. But other than that, it's like, so even with only like 2/3 deaths, like the gore wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't. Like, I like when they were like examining some of the bodies and they're like, oh yeah, like, listing off everything that had happened and possible cannibalism.
Yeah.
And then like ripping the guy's heart out when he's like, I'm having a dream. And it's like, no, this isn't a dream. And like they reach her and rip the heart out. Like, I did like that stuff. Yes, I did. They had some gore without like the killings.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like slasher gore.
Yes.
It was just gore.
Yeah.
And so that was a nice touch, because it's like they just as easily could not have done any of that, and it wouldn't change the story at all.
No.
Like, nobody was watching this movie to see a head explode.
Exactly.
So, but having it in there was a nice little touch. So what educational lesson would you give to somebody who may find themselves in a similar situation?
Don't pick up a hitchhiker.
Yeah, don't pick up
Although,
a hitchhiker.
shout out to the Taiwanese guy that picked us up.
Don't pick up a hitchhiker, even if he's hot. Like, in this case, like, if you're traveling through the African desert and you see some random white guy with literally like a duster on, like trench coat leather duster, just keep going.
Just drive
Especially
on by.
if you see the back of his leather coat is bones. Just keep going. Like, who cares if you're lonely? Who cares if he's handsome? Just keep driving.
Yeah.
He
will not scratch your itch.
No, he'll crack your neck. So
yeah.
We had talked about, because we're on summer break now, we gotta shift our brains a little bit, because we can do more than one a week if we want. I know we had talked a little bit about possibly doing Scream 3 with Ella for next week. But I think we need to cleanse your palate first.
Okay.
I don't think I'm ready for Scream 3 yet. Okay. I don't necessarily have one in mind, but I'm open to a shuffle.
Okay.
Are you open to a shuffle?
Yes, always.
Okay. Let me get the horror genre pulled up here. All right, we're looking at 928 movies to choose from. And I shuffle. No, we're not watching that one. It was Blade 3. You haven't seen Blade 1 or 2. Wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I have not.
Maybe. Let me look at this one. If it's what I'm thinking. Have you ever watched an Alfred Hitchcock movie?
Is that like Psycho? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have not.
Okay. I shuffled across a 1972 horror movie called Frenzy, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It's Hitchcock, so I know it's going to be good. Like, the guy's just amazing. So here's your premise. You can tell me if you want to watch it or not. London is terrorized by a vicious sex killer known as the Necktie Murderer. Following the brutal slaying of his ex-wife, down on his luck Richard Blaney is suspected by the police of being the killer. He goes on the run, determined to prove his innocence. So it's probably horror thriller.
Yeah.
And it's Hitchcock, so it'll be good.
Yeah.
You good with that one?
I am good with that one.
It's like just like 4 minutes shy of 2 hours. All right, a serial murderer is strangling women with a necktie. The London police have a suspect, but he is the wrong man. It's got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. That's really high. I've not seen it. I've not seen this.
I've heard of some of his things, but that's it.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with an Alfred Hitchcock movie. They're so good. This movie was, it had 3 award wins and 9 nominations. It kind of scrolling through what they are. It was back in 1973. It was nominated for Best Motion Picture at the Golden Globes, along with Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Original Score. So it didn't win, but it was nominated.
Yeah.
So it's a good one. Let's let's break you into
all right.
Alfred Hitchcock.
I guess I have seen The Birds, but that's it.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
Alfred Hitchcock's Frenzy. I'm excited. I haven't seen this one. I haven't seen this one. I'm going to go out on a limb now and say you will enjoy this more than you enjoyed Dust Devil.
I hope so.
I think that's a safe assumption. So yeah, and then we'll do Scream 3 after we do Frenzy.
Okay.
Because I know Ella's like, when are we doing Scream 3? When are we doing Scream 3? So I'm like, I was planning on like this next week, but I'm like, let's get through it. Let's get, after Dust Devil, I want you to catch up. So, you got anything? Like I said, you're...
You know what? I hope that all of you teachers can sleep in just a little bit. Just a little bit the first, week of break. Just one day, maybe.
It would be nice. I have to get my dogs on a summer schedule.
Yeah. Pedro is a 5:30 a.m. dog.
Yeah.
But thankfully, he gets out, does his business, and comes right back in and snuggles. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll get up at that time.
Like I probably told you before, my two, their kennels are in the basement, and our bedroom's on the second floor.
Yeah.
So by the time I get down 2 different flights of stairs, get them outside, I'm up.
I'm still sleeping when I take him outside. I don't even leave the front steps. His leash is long enough. I'm like, do your business and let's go back to bed.
Yeah. I used to be able, back when the dogs were really screwed up and it was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, I would go back to bed.
Yeah.
But now, my alarm goes off at 6. Sometimes they're barking about 20 till. I'll just stay up. I'm not going to bed for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. What do you got planned this summer? Anything exciting?
No. Well, okay. So I'm going to a Nickelback concert.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nickelback?
Yes. That was Casey's birthday present. He loves them, so we're going to see Nickelback.
I know that I think I put on Facebook a few years ago that if somebody offered me $1 million to name 2 Nickelback songs, I would lose out on $1 million.
Oh, man.
I know I've heard them, but I couldn't tell you the titles.
Yeah. And then I am going to the Grand Canyon and to Red Rock to go hiking and do some things like that. So other than that, that's it.
Nice.
Do you have family vacation or anything planned?
We are leaving for Florida at the end of June. We're going to drive down to Navarre. It's kind of in the Panhandle Destin section. We Airbnb'd a cottage that literally you walk out the back door and it's not on the beach. It's on is it a Sound? Yeah, it's on the Sound. So it's still ocean. Well, okay. Let me rephrase this. It's not on the Gulf. Mm-hmm. It's Gulf water into the Sound, and it's a beach on the Sound.
Okay.
And so we get all the perks of literally we go out the back of our cottage and there's the beach,
That's awesome.
Right there, and it's private. But there's no waves. There's no.
Yeah.
It's all the benefits of the ocean minus the ocean.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice.
We're
looking forward to that. And we are headed over to the Great Escape tomorrow to buy a pool.
Oh, that is exciting.
We're gonna have a pool installed probably shortly after we get back from vacation because that
will be nice.
So for the last 15 years we'd gone over to my in-laws. Well, when the tornado came through, it threw a limb through their pool liner that they just put in last year.
Oh.
And so at their age, it's not worth repairing it. So I was like, my wife and I talked, we're like, shall we just get the pool? I don't know. So I'm excited for it. The kids are excited for it. We are very excited for it, but I deal with the financials. So on my end, I'm like,
they're not excited.
Another payment. But whatever. YOLO, as the kids say. They don't say that.
That's dope.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say. And so that's really it. My son's got baseball. His first game's tomorrow. So we got baseball season. That's about it. So once that pool's in, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
Because even the kids, they're like, could we get in it every day? I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually like, really good for it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. I mean, and it'll be different for us, too, because we when we would go over to my in-laws, it may have been once a week, maybe twice a week.
Now it could be like the kids are asleep, it's still 85 degrees outside, let's just go night swimming.
Yeah.
Like, I love night swimming, I just love the water, so yeah.
Yeah. So it's just those little things, and we'd always go later in the afternoon so the sun's not beating down, but it's like, we could do that now.
Yeah.
You know, and the grill's out there, the gazebo's out there. So it's like, yeah, it'll give us, like, granted, I have a lot of work to do between now and then.
Yeah.
Because I got to prep the area before they come to prep the area. But yeah, that'll be our big thing this summer. And then Lucas turns 9. And, but other than that, no. I mean, not a bunch going on. So it'll be fun, though, to get that pool put in.
Yeah. That will be very nice. I think we're going to get a fence. That's not as exciting as a pool, but...
Yeah, well, you have a lot closer neighbors than we do up here.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. So I'm going to lose some more weight. As of, 2 days ago, I was down 16 pounds.
There you go.
Since I started. And so now that I've got summer and we're not busy like every single day, all day long, I have a little more time to put in some time. So that'll be nice. And then, of course, recording a lot of horror podcasts with you.
Yes.
Have to get some of those in for sure. So, well, we will be back next week with Frenzy. I'm excited.
I am too.
This is 2 weeks in a row.
Something fresh.
Yeah. So again, I wouldn't expect. You really don't know what to expect with Hitchcock. It'll be good, but you really don't know, like, is it going to be The Birds, which was kind of gross and gory? Yeah. Is it going to be Psycho, which was a little bit in between? Could be Rear Window, which is just really suspenseful, like.
And I'm good with all of those. Anything that's not just like walking across the desert.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, this won't be walking across the desert. So, all right, we are on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps us out because, we're so close to the top of the YouTube algorithms.
That's right.
But no, we're not. That's okay, though. That's okay. But, we don't do this for the money. We do this for the dedication. So, all right. Well, for dedication, we will see you guys next week with Frenzy. I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And have a good week. I know we will because it's summer.
Bye.